Um, I was not gonna make this video. I was not gonna make a video about this, but because it's so like uh, Lil Wayne was recently in Blonde Ritual. It happened in the late 90s or something like that. I think it happened when I was in high school. A lot of people, um, it was the in crowd. I remember the in crowd. It's no big deal now. See, that's why I didn't want to mention this shit because I used to get like people used to look at like see I didn't have the Jordans. It was in the in crowd. You understand? It fucked them up. Like couldn't understand you. You're like you had British Knights. You know what I mean? You had LA Gears. What the fuck are you doing? So because of that, you know that there was a blonde ritual going on where people would come in with the blonde on the top or something. We used to do shit like exactly the same. I remember this shit. I'm getting to. It doesn't require this much energy for me to talk about this specific thing, right? Because I will let it go on because I'm over it. Like I don't even want to give it my energy or attention anymore if it still happens. Because you remember Kanye and they were talking about him uh, being insane and everything, and he went to meet the president. He was blonde, and people said, "Oh, but he actually looked like he had been operated on like that day." And plus, he maybe was with the wrong Donald Trump. There's a red Donald Trump and a blue Donald Trump. You got to think Hegelian dialectic, but it's on the other side of the global sphere where where you can't see it, where it might be marketed or packaged up to it in advertising. It has something to do with what is advertising or not advertising and how you feel about it. Um, because how there could be two would come down to genetic splicing, right? And I'm not like gonna be an insider. I'm not. I don't have somebody in Area 51. You know what I mean? To talk about that, but it's just something like like something is just you could anybody could entail that there's something rotten in the cotton or something smells in Denmark. You don't have to be. You almost have to understand with that the apprehension. You know. So um, besides, remember the tall pundit, the blonde female. Nobody liked her. She was always on the conservative side and everything. We used to, like what I'm saying back when I would consider myself like a liberal. Well then now I mean she's not like what I mean like she's like on a level like with ambulance chasing something like Al Sharpton or Jesse Jackson. Um, Remember when you could talk shit about people like that, Jesse Jackson, Messy Jesse? See what I'm saying? They try to have a conscious revolution without Steve Coakley. I mean, that doesn't make sense. Like all the real black leaders were killed by Prince Hall Boule. They all get killed by Prince Hall Boule. If it concerns to you, because otherwise that means it's politicalized. Otherwise you wouldn't really know about it unless you know what I'm saying. It was just like what I'm saying, and then they can't find where you're gonna resonate with, what you might try to emulate. To market, sell it to you, fool. Sell it to you. No, I'm talking to you, fool, but I'm saying to myself, like I talk to myself, like fool. Like that's how I get down. So anyway, uh, the blonde thing. Okay, so I mean, it wasn't just to bring that up, right? It's because I was just noticing that channels that I subscribe to that are entertaining to me, and they're still entertaining. I'm not mad or anything like that, but they are kind of like punking him. They're punking, and I haven't been listening to it. Maybe he's saying some, because they're all like kind of wishy, flippy, floppy. Kirstie Alley, like I'm gonna auction babies off, and I'm gonna come support. I'm gonna support Trump. Like this is just a crazy ass country. It's just a nuts up, whatever they call that shit. This is nuts up, fucking. ham. Ham. Niggas is going ham. Somebody told me that. My friend told me that. I don't come up with most of the shit that I say out my mouth. Like 97% of the shit that I say out my mouth is shit that somebody told that I've heard from somewhere else, and people always think it's the most incredible shit that they like. I can never. But you know what thing is? Like that other little 3% is like how much work you actually need to put into something. Like, well, even if you put a little bit of work, that's still something because you had to go beyond where it was uh, like beyond just being interesting. You had to pick something interesting that you liked in order to do more with it than you might, to test your constituency. I don't even know big words and shit. Like I must have a book in my apartment that is on some sophisticated shit. Like I have a crate of books. So one of them is probably about that shit. Cause this should be popping into my head because I have the title, or I might like rub against it or something like that, and I'll get a chapter out of that.